Welcome to Project HQ, where your success in project management begins. Are you ready to master project management? Our professional Scrum Master training equips you with agile expertise and hands-on Jira skills. Dive into real-world scenarios with us and step into the industry with confidence. Meet Toyin Papula, our expert Agile Coach and PMP Pro. Experience hands-on training with essential tools and best practices. Now hear what our students have to say about their journey at Project HQ.
He always uses day-to-day activities and things that we do on a day-to-day basis to incorporate that into Prince 2.
He's got in-depth knowledge of project management methodologies and Scrum, and he's got excellent communication, presentation skills. The classes are very engaging and interactive.
Let's take a listen to our podcast, breaking down the key takeaways from a Scrum class.
Okay, so welcome back for another deep dive. And today we're tackling something that's honestly like fundamental to any kind of project, or even if you're just like interested in teamwork. We're going to be looking at Scrum Values.
Cool.
We've talked about Scrum before, that agile framework, all about sprints and all that good stuff.
Right.
But the values are like the heart of it all.
Absolutely.
And what I really like about the examples you've pulled for this deep dive is they really show these values like in action.
Yeah. Which
I think will be super helpful for our listeners.
Totally. And it's cool because, a lot of times people think of these values as kind of just these like abstract ideas.
Yeah.
They're up on a poster somewhere. Yeah. But what's so cool about them is that they're really practical tools for building trust and transparency and really getting that sense of everybody being, truly committed to a project.
Okay, so let's jump into it.
Okay.
Let's start with commitment. The example about the mobile app team, like each person understanding their role and supporting each other.
Right.
Like that's commitment in action.
Yeah, it's like that classic, all hands on deck situation.
Yeah.
And think about it. Think about a time that you were like really committed to a project.
Right.
Like what made that happen? What made the difference? And a lot of times it comes down to that shared understanding.
Right.
And that feeling that everyone's contributing and working towards a common goal.
Totally.
Like that's the power of commitment in Scrum.
Okay, so then there's focus, which, sounds kind of obvious.
Right.
But the research you've done goes a little bit deeper.
Yeah.
It's not just about each person focusing.
Right.
It's about the whole team focusing together on that sprint goal.
Yeah.
And like saying no to extra work that can creep in.
Yeah, that's huge.
That's like key.
It's so easy for teams to get caught up in, trying to take on too much. So focus in Scrum is really about protecting that energy and making sure that you're working on the right things at the right time.
Yeah.
Because ultimately that leads to better outcomes.
Okay, so then there's the example about the team member who noticed a potential problem.
Right.
And like right away shared it with everyone.
Totally.
I mean, that is openness.
Yeah, it's like embodying that value.
Yeah.
Because it's not always easy.
Right, yeah. To speak up.
To be the one to say like, hey.
Especially early on.
Yeah, especially early on. But think about the flip side.
Yeah.
If you don't say anything, that problem can just keep growing.
Totally.
Right. Become a way bigger issue.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And openness in Scrum is about creating that space where feedback is not just like accepted or tolerated, but it's actually valued.
Yes.
It's about creating an environment where people feel safe
to
speak up.
And then we've got respect, which is more than just being polite.
Right. The example about the team, like really valuing all those different approaches
to
solving problems, even if they're not like the usual way.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's key.
That's respect.
That's respect, because it goes beyond just acknowledging different viewpoints. It's about actually encouraging them.
Yeah.
Because that's how you get the best ideas is when you have that inclusivity.
Yeah, totally.
And people feel like their voices are heard.
Okay. And then finally, courage.
Okay.
This example where the team, they found a quality issue.
Right.
And even though it meant delaying the sprint, they chose to fix it.
Yeah, tough call.
I mean, that takes guts.
It does.
To admit a mistake.
Absolutely.
And to potentially like delay things.
Yeah. And And it's interesting because sometimes, you can see courage as this like individual trait.
Right.
But in Scrum, it's also very much a team thing.
Yeah.
It's about the team collectively advocating for what's right, even when it's difficult.
Yeah.
Standing up for quality.
Okay. So we've talked about all these values.
Right.
But how do we like actually put them into practice?
Yeah, that's the key question, right?
The research you found actually gives some really great tips on how to like actually use these in our own work.
So for commitment, think about it like setting really clear goals and deadlines.
Yeah.
And understanding, your role in achieving those goals.
Right.
For focus, it's about prioritizing tasks and minimizing distractions.
Totally.
Creating a space where you can do that deep work.
Right.
Openness is about, don't be afraid to ask for feedback and share your knowledge, freely with others.
Right.
Respect, listen actively, value the diverse perspectives around you.
Yeah.
And courage, don't be afraid to challenge the status quo or advocate for positive change.
So these Scrum values, they're not just some like abstract list.
Yeah.
They're really powerful.
Yeah. Tools for improving teamwork.
Total.
And achieving goals.
For sure.
Well, I think this has been a really insightful look.
I agree.
At Scrum values.
Yeah.
But as a final thought for our listeners, I want to throw it back to you.
All right. So think about this.
Yeah.
How might applying even just one of these Scrum values change your approach to your next project or challenge?
That's a great question to leave our listeners with.
Something to think about.
All right, thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
My pleasure.
We'll see you next time.
Sounds good.
For information, contact us at info@projecthq.live or call +447 41 5879 219. Visit our website www.projecthq.live. Join Project HQ today and let's begin your path to project management excellence.